So in the past videos, we were talking about test cases, test scripts, test scenarios, as different situations. So what are all these? Let's have a basic idea about what are this. Think about test scenario as a generic, bigger idea. Sometimes, or in modern systems, in some of the companies, they used to call it as test ideas. So what we wanted to do on when I talk about a test scenario, this is more like a high level functionality. Imagine login, checkout, search, buying a product. So these are all high level ideas. User should be able to buy a product. Invalid user should not be able to buy a product. So these are all high level test ideas, what we wanted to call it as test scenarios. Inside these test scenarios, we can write multiple test cases, like an invalid user should not be able to buy. Someone defaulted for multiple times should not be able to buy. Visa card is declined, then the user should not be able to buy with that specific card. So when we talk about that high level scenario, there will be multiple situations this can happen. Invalid user may mean a lot of different things. Sometimes they might even, if you're thinking about a credit card perspective, they may have crossed the limit of this 30 period time, or they crossed the limit for this month. They crossed the limit for this specific merchant. You can buy some amount in Amazon, some amount in Apple. You cannot mix it, so it has to be separate. So there can be multiple variations of the same validation. In online, you might see this lot of examples for login. So when I think about login, so there should be a positive login and negative login. That is two different test cases. And then negative login can have invalid email, invalid password, invalid condition, invalid. A lot of other variations can happen in specific situations. Inside the login idea, you should be able to log in, you should not be able to log in. With these two test scenarios, you can write 5 to 500 test cases, depends on how complex your login procedure is. Same for checkout, same for payments and everything else. So this is what the big difference between test scenario and test case is. You wanted to build an idea, and then you wanted to first you generalize what you wanted to test. So the generalization can be called as test and a scenario, and then you write more specification, it will goes into test cases. So where this test scripts comes here is converting this test case into automation. Test script is literally a step by step. So if you are writing a step by step instruction in a manual, in a document, that we can call it as test case. And but if you're writing it in a programming language which you can execute, it's not just in a programming language writing print statements, but if you are having specific steps or specific functions which does this automatically, that is what we call it as test script. So this is the idea. A generalized test idea is test scenario, and very specified test idea is a test case. When converting that into a programmatic, automatically executable way, that is a test script. So this is the basic idea. But just to give you insider information, these days we are not segregating test cases, test scenarios, and test scripts that much in modern or product companies, or bigger companies, or bigger product companies, or companies focusing on business and then have fully automated or wanted to fully automate the systems. They will not care about what you call test scenario and test cases. Mostly they will care about write everything in a test scenario. So in automation or in programming perspective, what you can think about is test scenario can be a test class, and test case will become one test function inside that class. So each class can have multiple functions, and each suite or each application will have multiple classes. So that's how we have to think what is test scripts and where the test scenario comes in automation perspective.